You're welcome back to the show. This is State of Affairs, and welcome to all our first viewers. Justin Ado, who says he's watching in Nigeria. Well, good evening to you, Justin. Well, Chief Delet Momodu, publisher of the Ovation magazine and also a politician, has joined us here. Is the first anniversary of President Buhari in office. Congratulations to you. Should I say well done to Nigerians?
Thank you, Nanaba. Thank you.
Well, so it's been a very busy week for Nigerians.
Yeah, extremely busy. We're still in the celebratory mood, and we're happy that 17 years now we've been operating democracy without any interruption.
Okay. Now, when President Buhari was sworn in to office, he had a number of promises for Nigerians. I mean, he promised change during the campaign. He promised to deal with corruption. I think it's a reason he had such a resounding victory, because Nigerians keep talking about corruption. They keep talking about how a country so rich in oil resources, yet majority of the people are so poor. Would you say that a year on, are you impressed with his fight against corruption so far?
Yes, I would say he has started well. He's taking on very powerful tools in Nigeria. It's not easy to fight corruption anywhere in the world. It will take a very long story to explain how it works. But the usual thing is that in Africa, we have refused to look at what makes it different elsewhere, that you are less corrupt. Mm-hmm. My theory is that corruption starts from need and then graduates to greed. Need in the sense that an average African is not able to survive on his normal income. And there is no credit system to help cushion the effect of poverty. So in Africa, our form of social security is that if I have money, I have so many dependents. And as such, once you block the main benefactor, then the dependents will suffer. Mm-hmm. So in Nigeria today, a lot of people are complaining that things are hard, the economy is bad, just because a lot of those dependents are not able to get what they used to get from their benefactors. But we must start from somewhere, and I believe that the president is doing...
He promised a wide range of reforms. Which one would you say, confidently, that he's been able to achieve in his first year in office? Or you can tell that he's on the right path to achieve it?
You see, what you must note is that he has only spent 1 year in office. In the first year, he has tried to study how bad the situation was.
But
you know,
when
you are in opposition, when you are in opposition, it's very easy for you to say, I will do this, I will do that. But when you get there, the story is always different. And I believe that is what has happened in Nigeria. Playing opposition is different from the man who is on the seat. I'm sure President Buhari is overwhelmed by what he has discovered. Number two is the fact that to put a team together and be searching for who you think is incorruptible is a different kettle of fish.
And it took him a while.
That took him a while. Then the kind of infrastructural decay that you have in Nigeria. In fact, a lot of times we compare Nigeria to Ghana, that a country that does not have the resources of Nigeria, you go to your airport, things are working well, but when you go to Nigeria, we all complain that you are welcomed into a sweaty airport. You go on the roads, you see new flyovers, and you begin to ask, where does Ghana get the resources from that Ghana is able to do and achieve a lot of these things, and we're not able to do it? So Buhari came in with the burden of expectations that he will be able to fix all these things. And trust me, it has not been easy for him. In fact, I wrote him an open letter last Saturday, and I said, I don't envy being a President Buhari at this time.
Well, but you were one of his critics during the campaign, weren't you?
No. In 2011, I contested against President Buhari and Jonathan at the time. I was one of his critics. In fact, one night, he had to send for me that, Dele, what have I done to you? And I said, well, in terms of age, And seriously, at that age, it is difficult for you to be able to operate, optimally. But he was able to explain that Nigeria needed a father figure at that time. On top of that, President Jonathan was fighting everybody, fighting with his governors. So age
didn't matter?
Now, what we thought last year was that President Jonathan was fighting everybody within his own party. Some governors walked away. You had some former ministers and all that who left his party, and that left him open. So Nigerians were not left with any choice at that stage, because a house divided against itself would naturally collapse. PDP had become a pack of cards, and it just fell apart. So it made it easier for a Buhari that we had rejected 3 times to come in and take over.
Okay. Now, he also promised to fix the high rate of unemployment in your country. And also, recently we've seen so many pictures, sometimes very depressing and frustrating pictures of Nigerians queuing for petrol. I mean, Nigeria, oil-rich Nigeria, queuing for petrol. How do you feel about that? And has he been able to handle that situation very well?
Well, as we speak, the situation has improved. Maybe not as we would want, because the price has gone up drastically from about 86 to 145. And a lot of Nigerians are not comfortable with that, because we are not going to be increasing salaries immediately and all that. But he has tried, to put things right. That's why I said, when you are in opposition, what you find, what you see is different from what you find when you get to power. Today, President Buhari has to deal with too many issues. Number one, the price of oil has gone down from 100 to 30.
Well, it just went up to about a little over 50.
Yes. So now, well, I read yesterday that it came down again because, again, the oil installations are being bombed in Nigeria by the people who call themselves the Avengers. So that is also going to affect the price of oil. So a lot of things in the area of security. He's tried his best. The Boko Haram, yes, he's been able to bring down, so that has abated, a bit. But the major problem of unemployment. When you talk about
Boko Haram, everyone is thinking about those 200 girls.
Over 200, yes.
Over 200 girls, abducted in Chibok. And till date, we've only been told that only 2 have been found out of over 200. I mean, that doesn't really go well.
Well, what you must remember is that before he came, a lot of the townships and villages have been overrun by the terrorists, But today, a lot of those villages have been liberated, But where Nigerians are more concerned now is in the area of the economy. Because without a strong and virile economy, you cannot have progress.
Some say that he's busy witch hunting and traveling across the world. Every other week, President Buhari is out of the country. And I'm not saying this, I mean, this is coming from Nigerians. I've been reading Twitter feed from Nigerians who think that he travels too much. He's busy doing witch hunting, so he's not focusing on the real issues, creating jobs for the people. And also, they call him Papa Go Slow as a result.
Well, what you have to understand is that at Buhari's age, he's not going to perform like you and I. He's a man who came to power because of his reputation, as a no-nonsense man, a former military dictator who is now a born-again Democrat. So it will take him time to think through things.
I remember you once said that Nigerians shouldn't vote for him because he's a coup plotter and broke jail.
Where have you been reading all this?
You said that, didn't you?
Yes. You see, in politics, you say a lot of things based on the mood at that time. But the thing is that we made up later. I was, in fact, the first journalist he invited after he became president. But you see, the issue of the economy right now is the only problem I believe he has to deal with. Right. Is it because, as I said, you don't have the kind of infrastructure that you have in Ghana? Electricity has gone so bad in Nigeria. I mean, you had doing some here. But today, I come back to Accra, and I'm able to sleep, for so many nights without light going off. The day we are able to achieve that, trust me, Buhari will be embraced by everybody.
Okay, so what would be, if you should meet President Buhari anytime, and I know you do meet him a lot, what would you tell him as he, says the rest of his
Well,
term?
the first thing is he must unify the country. Nigeria is too divided at the moment. Alongside, you are Igbo, you are Yoruba, you are Hausa, you are Fulani.
It's taken a very long time for Nigerians to come get over that, hasn't it?
Yes, the problem with Nigeria is that, number one, we're very big, and you have too many ethnic groups. So whatever you do, if I arrest you today, they will say, oh, it's because you are a Yoruba man. So if tomorrow I give someone an appointment, they say it's because,
But if the systems are working,
well, the system
and institutions are working,
see,
no one will have a reason to
don't
blame.
forget that Nigeria has not gone through the kind of revolution that Ghana had. So things are a bit dicey. We were not lucky enough to have a military that was able to give us a superstructure. Everything was divided along ethnic lines. So, and also we don't have a common language like here, where everybody is able to understand what the other person is saying. So, for Nigeria to get out of this, the president will not have to make an extra effort to say, look, I want everybody to come together. Whether you are in opposition or you are in the ruling party. I don't belong to either party. I come from a very small party. Yet, we volunteered to support him because we knew Nigeria was at that critical stage. Okay,
thank you very much. Chief Dele Momodu is a politician, and of course, the Ovation magazine. He's the publisher of that magazine. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you, Nana.